Alright, so I was going to vote on all the Game Awards categories, but apparently you need to sign in now. I don't remember if that was a thing in prior years or if it was even open to the public in prior years, but it has to, link to a couple certain different accounts, and I just kept getting errors and shit, so unfortunately it was a pain in the ass, and we won't be actually voting, but we can still look at all the nominees, have a discussion, and such. Game of the Year. It's kind of funny because I've only played one of these games, Tears of the Kingdom. I am looking forward to playing Spider-Man 2, hopefully, when that hits Steam. I have a feeling Baldur's Gate 3 is going to win. I would say it seems like a pretty good game. I'm just not really sure it's my thing. I also feel a little weird having Resident Evil 4 here too, just because, it's a great game. I've played the original, but I don't know. I didn't do a lot of research, but I don't know how it really differentiates itself to the point where it feels like an entirely new game, And the fact that they sold separate ways separately kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I probably would have voted for Tears of the Kingdom, but like I said, Spider-Man's a close second, even though I haven't played it yet. And, personally, my favorite game that came out this year that I played was probably Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. That's the game I had the most fun with. Fire Emblem Engage is a close second. Hopefully we see them nominated for something as we go along. Probably the game I had the most fun playing overall this year was probably Halo Infinite, though. I only played through the campaign. I'm not big into multiplayer, but that campaign blew me away. Sonic Frontiers, too, a close second with that. Yikes, best game direction is literally all the same games. I don't know. I feel kind of weird seeing the same games over and over again. I don't know, maybe if they're all represented in 5 or 6 different categories and all win one, I guess it's mildly okay. It's a little less bitter, but if it's the same game over and over again, I don't know. Or at least split it up a little bit, throw in 1 or 2 games that weren't up for Game of the Year, but I don't know. I'll probably once again give it to Tears of the Kingdom in particular, just because that's the game I'm most familiar with in the game. I generally really like the direction of. I wasn't sure where they were going to go from Breath of the Wild to make it feel as mind-blowing as Breath of the Wild felt, but they somehow did it and deserve a lot of credit for that. Best narrative. See, at least we got Cyberpunk and Final Fantasy here, some different stuff. I don't know, like I said, I haven't played any of these games yet, and narrative isn't something I super care about in a video game. I don't know, sometimes that can be a pretty good strength, though. Like, I feel like Nier does that pretty well, but I would probably just give it to Cyberpunk or Final Fantasy. Probably Final Fantasy. I guess it's a little weird to kind of have an expansion here as opposed to a full brand new game. In my opinion, not that I necessarily disagree with, especially if an expansion's, really, big and good. I just don't really know that much about that one in particular. And I would actually probably say, like, if I was just going games I'd played this year, I probably would say Nier Replicant for that. Out of games released this year, I don't even know. I'm just gonna go with the games I've played this year, I guess. If I can think of any from this year, I'll make note of it. Best art direction. I see Hi-Fi Rush right away. That would definitely be my vote. I love that game. So probably one of the few games so far that I've actually played through, and I finished this one too, unlike Tears of the Kingdom. So the first time we've seen Liza P too. I think it's supposed to be a Souls-like, so I'm not really into those, at least not yet. I don't really have anything to say there. But yeah, overall, Hi-Fi Rush definitely nailed it. Great art direction. When I look at the category, I'm like, Hi-Fi Rush better be here too. I would clearly vote for it again right here. Hell, I would probably vote for it in every category. I apologize once again for not being able to vote for people who want to see Hi-Fi Rush win. like myself, see Dead Space. It's the first time we've seen that. I forget what that even is. Is that like a remake, a reboot? I don't even know. Although I'm not surprised. I see a lot of horror games in this category, and that's normally a strength of the genre, the audio stuff. And then you got Hi-Fi Rush and Spider-Man here too. Best for performance, yeah. Unfortunately, I'm not too versed on who any of these people played in their respective games, except I can tell that the Star Wars Jedi survivor Cameron Monaghan, because he looks like the protagonist. Like I think they probably used his likeness a bit there too. And you can tell that's who he played. So just I guess for the pure fact that I can instantly recognize who I'm voting for, I guess I would vote for him. Although that's probably not the best way to do it. If I was actually voting, I probably would have at least looked all these people up or something. But at the same time, I haven't played the games and I can't speak from the performance. I would personally, just once again, out of games I played this year, would have probably given it to, is her name Laura Bailey, I think? Yeah, I just Googled it. That's correct. I'm just thinking of performances I particularly enjoyed, and being introduced to Kane was a great experience. Kane is a great character. And the voice actress in game just did a fantastic job with her. Innovation and accessibility. See a lot of new games here, but once again, I probably would have voted for Hi-Fi Rush. I will say that they did, like, I don't know, I like voting on this category because I don't really use any of the accessibility options, but I know Hi-Fi Rush had some stuff for those who aren't good with audio cues, and I used some of those, so that's probably the closest thing I can really say about it. But a lot of new nominees, though. I think, isn't Forza normally like always nominated for this? I feel like I guess they do a pretty good job. First time we've seen Diablo. See, a couple fighting games. If Hi-Fi Rush wasn't here, I probably would have voted for my favorite there. Or actually, I probably should have actually looked up to see what they might be referencing, in particular with innovation to cast proper judgment. So, but nice to see those two finally nominated for something. I'm sure there's best fighting game or something that they'll be up for too. Hopefully maybe one or two other things too. I don't know. I realized I accidentally skipped best score in music. Once again, you see Hi-Fi Rush there. You know what I would have voted for. But yeah, this one's pretty subjective, I feel like, though. I don't know. So I know this is a category every year, but I really wasn't sure. I thought it was either what it says it is, that it was like games with a good message or whatever, or it was like, I don't know, developers who did charity work or something. I don't know, but I haven't played any of these games. I haven't heard of any of these games. I mean, I guess it's cool they get some recognition. Hopefully some people pick them up after seeing them here and that. If they're unaware of it like I was, I mean, I can't even really say on this one. I don't know if I had to vote. Would it be bad to just put it through a randomizer? I don't know. Maybe I would go with the game with the deer on the cover, because I don't know. I think a game playing as deer in nature would be fun. I don't know. Best ongoing. Actually do see, this would all be older games, but we do see Cyberpunk here, but that's probably because of the expansion. Yikes, this is tough, because like I said, if Cyberpunk had a good expansion, Fortnite, I mean, recently they've been under some hot water, but before that point, they seem to be doing pretty well. Genshin, too. I'm not too familiar with Apex or how that's been doing. Final Fantasy XIV, though, I know is pretty strong as well. I haven't played... I have played like one or two matches of Fortnite. It's not really my thing. I don't know. I would probably go with Genshin, because that's probably the game I want to play the most here. And yeah, I don't know. Similar to Fortnite, it seems to always just be really relevant. Maybe Final Fantasy too, but like I said, Cyberpunk, maybe that'll die down with now that the expansion's out. And like I said, Apex, I'm just not familiar enough with. I guess Hoyo did put out a new game this year even too, so I guess that's what I would have done. What about a game I played this year that had continued support? The first one on the top of my head was Sonic Frontiers. I feel like the free updates they did with that were really good. Although I guess that might go against, because like I said, I kind of look at this as more of a continued support. That's kind of what I said about Cyberpunk, as opposed to getting an expansion and maybe moving on. Or I don't know, maybe Cyberpunk's a bit of a live service thing too. Maybe that's what I'm sort of thinking of more with this category. Or actually, if I'm talking from personal experience, I should probably say Fire Emblem Heroes, because I still play that. I don't know. Best community support, a lot of the same stuff. I see Baldur's Gate on this one. I see Destiny 2 and No Man's Sky. I guess that's not a lot of the same ones, but it seemed like it at first when I saw Cyberpunk and Final Fantasy. That's what I was just reading. I wasn't sure if this was more of a developer thing or if this was more of a like fan thing. If it was a fan thing, I probably would have said Starfield, just because I know the community puts out a lot for that, probably. Just like all the other Bethesda games. But if we're talking like developer, then I really have no idea. I'd probably give it to Baldur's Gate 3, just because, I don't know, you just saw so much discussion about them, sort of pushing the industry forward in that, and how it was such a good thing to have, a game complete at launch and all of that, which is something that should be a standard and not necessarily praised, but they went along with it pretty well. And like I said, I look at some of these other games, and I'm not sure on Final Fantasy, but that's something Cyberpunk and No Man's Sky and maybe Destiny couldn't really say. Or actually, it hasn't, because Destiny 2 did it like, I'm not really familiar with it. Did it like launch good, but it's been struggling a little more recently? Because wasn't that why they just had a bunch of layoffs or something? I don't know, because then it's like, how do you like credit like I'm talking about developer engagement, but then I guess another part of this could be too is the content you put out. But I guess that's why you have the previous category, the best support, not support, best ongoing, best indie game. Okay, I don't play a lot of indie games, admittedly, but I have heard of Dave the Diver and Sea of Stars. Sea of Stars doesn't really seem like my thing. Dave the Diver, I did download a demo. I didn't play it yet, but I am sort of interested in it, so I probably would give it to that one. But you got 3 other games too here. Good to learn about. If I had to pick the best indie game I've personally played this year, oh shit, it would obviously be Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. Where is it? Why isn't it nominated for this? That's really disappointing. That's such a great game. Do they not classify it as indie? Because isn't there like a best debut game category? And like this, I see Dredge has Team 17. I know they have been around a little bit, because I think this is I forgot the name of the studio, but it's their 3rd game with Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. They made Lethal League. I couldn't remember the name of it, and it's Team Reptile I'm thinking of. As I was just saying, best debut game right here. I think this is a lot of games we've seen before that I didn't really know about. Except I think the 3 were up for best indie game. I think Venba was up for Games for Impact, and Pizza Tower is new. I mean, I've heard of Pizza Tower. I haven't really heard of the other ones. I don't know. Maybe I would give it to Venba. I don't know. It was also up for Games for Impact, so I guess it's kind of cool that it also, had a positive impact potentially. Mobile game. I wasn't sure if this would be another ongoing game, but I obviously need to vote for Hello Kitty Island Adventure. I can't believe they made that an actual thing. Although I guess Butters was emulating it on his computer all the time. But, I mean, some other great games. Honkai Star Rail, I heard, was pretty good. I didn't even know Monster Hunter had a mobile game. There's that other one that was in Games for Impact, that Deer one I would have voted for there. Oh yikes, Netflix, I guess, is involved with it too. And then I didn't realize Final Fantasy VII had I think I saw stuff for Ever Crisis, but I didn't realize it was a mobile game. But once again, for the memes, I would vote for Hello Kitty Island Adventure. Best VR, very minimal experience with VR. A lot of new nominees, though. I don't know, would you throw in something that had an update later? Because isn't that sort of what happened with Gran Turismo, Resident Evil, and Horizon? I almost kind of want it to give it more to a game, I don't know, more centered around it, sort of built around it, if that makes sense. Like, I know these VR games kind of might do that too, that are based on other games, but I don't know. Actually, I think I've heard of Synapse. And I don't know, looking at the picture they used for Humanity, if it's just sort of like a top-down thing, I don't know how good that would be in VR, so I would probably vote for Synapse, but if I was voting, this is another one I would probably should do more research on, but we're just bullshitting around here. Best action game, see Armored Core, Dead Island 2, Remnant 2, those are some new nominees. Was Ghost Runner 2 nominated before? I don't remember. I see Hi-Fi Rush again. Honestly, though, like, I don't know. I feel like Hi-Fi Rush is a really great game, but I sort of look at sort of the platforming and rhythmic elements more than the action. Maybe I would give it to Armored Core just because I'm surprised to see it not nominated for one, and I think it was kind of cool to see FromSoft, now that they've sort of achieved new levels of success, sort of go back, reintroduce another IP they had to a new audience. I think that was a cool thing to do, although, I don't know, Dead Island 2 seems kind of interesting too. The best action-oriented game I probably played this year is right now I'm sort of taking a little break from it, but I'm going to eventually do a video on it, of Just Cause 4. I'm waiting to see if the expansion pack goes on sale during Black Friday, and then I have like the final mission and then the expansion stuff, and then I'll probably do something on it. But that's probably the best action-oriented game I've played this year, mainly for the action, if that makes any sense. A lot of games have action, but I feel like that's the game that really sort of dialed it up, I guess. Best now action adventure. We've seen all this nominated for shit before. I don't know. Once again, Alan Wake and Resident Evil. I mean, I guess adventure is sort of part of it. And they say like puzzles and traversal. But I don't know. Would you consider like more horror, sort of stealthy shit to be very action oriented, I guess? I would probably give it to Tears of the Kingdom, like, regardless of all of that. Because once again, I'm thinking, like I said, it is very action-oriented, but I feel like the adventure aspect, like, sort of how they added the Sky Islands, which sort of churned around some of the traversal of the world, making it sort of, fresh again. And I know that there's a lot of great puzzles in the game, too, so that's probably overall what I would give this category to. Best RPG, we've seen, actually, no, is this the first time we've seen Starfield, I think? I don't know, but we've seen all these games nominated for various categories, for the most part. No Fire Emblem Engage. I'm not surprised, but I am still a little disappointed. That would be my pick. I don't know, maybe I would give it to Starfield. Starfield, I feel like out of these games, is more up my alley, and the one I see myself playing first, although, I don't know. Like I said, I would like to try, because isn't Baldur's Gate supposed to be like Dragon Age? And I have the Dragon Age trilogy, I just haven't touched it yet, so I don't know, I'm a little mixed. Actually, Final Fantasy 16 looks pretty good too, but hopefully that eventually hits other platforms. And honestly, I feel like I would rather play the 7 remakes. Yeah, probably. It's close, but I would probably still give it to Starfield, especially since, too, if I was voting, I think I would have already voted for Baldur's Gate and Final Fantasy and other categories, so we'll give Starfield a shot. Best fighting game. I mean, this is clearly between Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. God of Rock was awful. I've never heard of Pocket Bravery, and Nick Brawl 2 doesn't really interest me. That's a whole other topic, but damn, this is tough. I haven't played either Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter yet. I feel like I'm looking forward to playing Street Fighter more, and I can appreciate that they didn't up it to $70 too. But I don't know, I'm really looking forward to the cameo system in Mortal Kombat, though. This is really tough. I think Street Fighter would just edge it out. Or I don't know, because I'm like even thinking of some of the negatives now. Like I know Mortal Kombat had a questionable Switch release, but then Street Fighter, I know, sort of had a smaller base roster than expected. I don't feel like we've seen either go on sale for me to say, well, at least Mortal Kombat went on a decent sale when it did go on sale. But yeah, so I wish there was like another category I knew they were both up for that I can vote. Like I know they were up for one of the other ones, but I would have given it to another game anyway. But I wish that I knew they were both up for another one so I can give one best fighting game and one whatever else. This is tough. If we're going more on the game itself, I'm probably going to say Mortal Kombat. Even if it was a little overpriced or even if it had a lackluster Switch release. I mean, at least it got one, I guess, if that was your only option. And, you know, if we're talking about game quality and putting the price aside, which were, once again, I'm sure they're both great games, but those were some of my reservations with Mortal Kombat. It can't be stressed, though, how close this was. Like I said, other categories were close. This one, yikes. Funny part is I haven't played either yet. Probably the best fighting game I played for the first time this year. Probably Street Fighter V. I played that while sort of the build up to Street Fighter 6, and that sort of exceeded expectations. Best family, once again, haven't played any of these. I think everything here would be new except Mario. Not super interested in Sonic. Party Animals, I'm not too familiar with this. I think it might be like an online Fall Guys thing. I don't even know much about Disney Castle of Illusions, so personally, I would clearly go with Pikmin 4. Definitely the game I'm looking forward to playing the most here. Although, I don't know, how do you classify family game? Because Pikmin's more single player, right? And like all the rest of these are sort of multiplayer, sort of play with your whole family thing. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there is multiplayer in Pikmin. I would still probably vote for Pikmin, though, regardless. Oh yeah, it does say family play, though. I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's here for a reason, right? I'm trying to think also what would be the best one I've played this year that, I don't know, might be more of a couch co-op or kid-friendly game, I guess. Maybe Ahead in Time out of the games I've played, that's at least got multiplayer. Or like a split, I don't know if it is split screen actually, but I know there is sort of a co-op thing there. Oh, okay. They put Fire Emblem, not an RPG, but in its own category with other more tactical strategy games and such. Definitely Fire Emblem Engage here. I don't know if I really need to explain that. Cool to see Advanced Wars up for something, though. Although that's a remake, so I'm a little about remakes for Game Awards, as I mentioned before. I didn't realize City Skylines 2 was even out yet. Not too familiar with Company Heroes. Wonder what'll win this one. This could be a close one. I think it'll be City Skylines or Fire Emblem. Maybe Pikmin? I don't know. I'm actually looking back at some of the other genres at what might win. Like I see, like I said, a lot of these games are up for Game of the Year, an action adventure, action game. I think these would all. I think it is going to go to Armored Core, though. That's my guess. Action, once again, there's a lot up for Game of the Year. It could be any of them. RPG, I think it's definitely going to be Baldur's Gate. Best Sports in Racing. All new nominees here. I remember hearing the new Forza was online only, and I think a lot of Ubisoft games are online only. And I know the EA FIFA split sort of a weird deal. So, I don't know, maybe F1 or Hot Wheels. Fuck it, I'd vote for Hot Wheels. Because I think F1 and even FIFA, I mean, are they even really that... They're yearly games, right? Like, are they really pushing anything compared to the last game? Like, I don't know, maybe if I knew they were using a new engine and completely overhauled everything, but I don't know that. Hot Wheels 2 is at least a sequel and probably available to play offline. That's a kind of sad way to determine this category. Forza is probably going to win. I feel like, doesn't Forza normally win this? Best racing or sports game I've played this year. Definitely Driver San Francisco. All right, my guilt is over because I gave Mortal Kombat best fighting game. I would give Street Fighter best multiplayer. Hopefully the multiplayer is good in it. I don't really play multiplayer a lot in really any games. So this isn't a good category for me to be judging, but I think this one's going to go to Mario Wonder. I don't know what the Baldur's Gate 3. I didn't even know they had multiplayer, so I don't know. Depends on what it is, I guess. That's actually kind of funny. I didn't even think best multiplayer an obvious category, an obvious good choice for a fighting game when we were debating the two series earlier. Best adaptation, I've only seen the Mario movie. I know Castlevania and Last of Us are supposed to be pretty good, I think, though, too. Wasn't the Twisted Metal not that good, I thought? And I don't really know about Gran Turismo. I think Mario can definitely win, especially with... I don't know, I guess they were all big in their own right, but I think, Castlevania is another season. I feel like Last of Us is something better suited for an adaptation, if that makes sense. I know the game is supposed to have a pretty good narrative, right? So they can sort of follow that, add other stuff, as opposed to Mario, which really doesn't have a good narrative, that presented a challenge that they sort of faced and seemed to do good with. So that's what I think is going to happen there. Most anticipated game, for me, it'd definitely be Tekken 8. Although these are all really good choices, and I'm definitely looking at like a Dragon Infinite Wealth too. Although, like I said, I'm not into like the turn-based stuff as much, so I am sort of questioning that one. But then at the same time, I saw that there might be some more of like the classic combat with Kyu, so... But at the same time, it's probably going to be a while before I finally play that game, because I'm only on Yakuza 2. Or I finished 2, I'm going to be on 3 next, so I've still got, 5 more games before I catch up. And spin-offs, because spin-offs look pretty fun too. Definitely an honorable mention here, but yeah, personally, I'm definitely looking forward to Tekken 8. I don't know what's going to win, though. I think it's going to be Final Fantasy, is my guess. Oh, yikes, we're on, content creators and esports, and I watched some, but not really a lot at all. Out of these people, I think I've heard of people make games, maybe. I've definitely heard of Iron Mouse. I would probably go with her just because she's the one I'm most familiar with. Esports game. So it would all be, stuff that's been out. I say I'll probably give it to Counter-Strike 2. Just because, I don't know, moving from Global Offensive to 2, I didn't really look too deep in it, but I didn't really see too much, controversy, or I feel like that could have been a bit of a risk, and they seem to have done it pretty well, and I feel like it's a pretty big deal. Once again, though, I apologize if that's not the case. I'm sort of speaking out of my ass here. I'm not too familiar with anything going on here. Best esports athlete, they at least tell you the games that they play. So I was kind of hoping to see, Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat here. Like I said, I don't really follow esports or play these games that much in particular. Maybe I would give it to the CSGO guy, because like I said, I know that community had the transition to 2, so I figured that was quite eventful, I guess, considering they've been on CSGO for how long before that. That's why when I was saying that, I'm like, well, Call of Duty changes every year, but then once again, CSGO was the standard for so long. I apologize to people into esports right away, because like I said, I would be voting out of my ass here. Like I said, not familiar at all. I probably wouldn't pick between 2 different Valorant teams. Oh wait, there's a Counter-Strike team here, so once again, I would probably just vote for Counter-Strike. I didn't see that, but yeah. Yeah, as I was saying, I don't want to pick between 2 people in the same game, but here we go. I kept voting for Counter-Strike, and now we've got 2 Counter-Strike coaches here. We got League, Valorant, and Overwatch. Do you give it to the Overwatch person for... Yikes, they've been through quite a bit this year. I don't know, I've heard of Evil Geniuses, and not just from the previous category. I haven't heard of JD Gaming, so I guess I would pick Christine Chi. Just out of process of elimination here. Once again, so sorry for these other nominees that I'm sure are pretty good too. That it's just up to... Or not that it's up to, because I'm not even voting, but if I was voting, it would have been just up to very random factors. Or I don't know, I would have been better off skipping. I guess I could do some research, but like I said, researching one or two things with some of the other categories isn't as big of a deal, but having to research all this esports shit would, yeah, not interesting to me. Finally, an esports thing I can definitely vote for. Evo, obviously. Fighting games. That's all I'm gonna say. I enjoy fighting games. I sometimes watch competitive play. I'm not really like super into it though, or super familiar with everything, but sometimes it's a fun watch. Yeah, Evo. I don't know, it seems pretty big every year. This year didn't seem to be an exception, although was this the first year where they had like trouble with Nintendo and couldn't get Smash, which it sucks, but I don't blame Evo. I think that's definitely more of a Nintendo issue. That's it. That's all 31 categories. Luckily, we can still go through them. I thought they were going to lock out even viewing them behind being logged in their shitty system, but yeah, we'll see how close I was, how my bingo card, I guess, how accurate it is.